Dear devotees, it's Chandra Vadna Chaitanya Das, and welcome back to the Bhakti House. So yesterday I was talking a little bit about like evening prayers and kind of evening sadhana, like spiritual practice done in the evening time, and you know now, but the message is actually a morning prayer. So this morning I was thinking, like, after we'd finished our program here, I got to thinking that, I should write some kind of a guide or some kind of help for people that want to understand better, maybe like morning prayers, or like how what that mood is like. It's we have, like, in Indian music, we have different ragas in our North Indian system. And in our ragas, some of the ragas have different moods, right? They have different sounds. And some of the sounds are meant to be played in the evening time for a certain type of mood or a certain type of atmosphere. And other songs are meant to be played more in the morning time. And that has a different feeling to it, a different emotional, vibrational frequency, kind of mood, this bhava that I talked about a little bit yesterday. Well, today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about like morning prayers and about your morning spiritual routine, your morning sadhana. And this is typically where the day starts, right? When we wake up in the morning. And, believe it or not, you can start right away. Like, you don't even, while you're still in bed, sleep on the floor, like on a mat. But before I even get up, sometimes, I find myself just when I first wake up, that first 2 or 3 minutes can be really, really great for just connecting with God, just having a moment, and I like this idea of like a moment. Sometimes we only have a moment, like in our spiritual life, right? We probably, if we're truthful with ourselves, have much more than just a moment. But when you're busy living life and you're kind of living it on your terms, and you've got certain obligations and responsibilities and all these kind of things, well, it's sometimes very, I don't know, it's like, it's the last thing on our mind, right? For many of us, is to think about God or think about the reality of spirituality and what that could really do for us, and that's another another thing in and of itself. Sometimes people just don't see a lot of point to it. What, they had prayed and prayed and prayed, and they just really felt like God really doesn't listen completely. And kind of as an experiment for every day of the week, give you some change. Sometimes people get bored with monotony or doing the same kind of spiritual activities over and over again. Some people find a lot of comfort in it, on the other hand. So it's quite comprehensive. I put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into it, and I basically put a lot of things in there that I have learned over the years, had personal experiences with, but then I've also learned just other people, having talked to people, done spiritual counseling for many years. I've actually put that into the blog post as well. A lot of these tips and different things, person, not good for me. But, as simple as like 2 or 3 minutes. Really, like 2 or 3 minutes. That really hurt you that you can pop off into a quiet corner of your house. Outside, you could be outside and hello, Jason Brantley. Nice to have you with us. To like the particulars of things that we end up like overthinking things. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday. But it's especially true like in the morning time. What's nice about mornings though is sometimes before we really get going with the day, especially like if you're dreaming and you wake up from a dream, you're kind of like in that in between wake and sleep kind of mindset. And that I find sometimes is a really great time to do some meditation, or, like just have a little, 2 or 3 minutes with God and, just express yourself and whatever's going on in your life. And also there's a lot of different things you can, if you're just like, well, I don't really know what to say to God, like, what do you tell? You're just like, well, I don't really know what to say to God, like, what do you tell a person that knows everything, right? But I could say very simply, and this is something that, oops, God, I'm sorry, guys, for the internet. Sometimes we're like losing a little bit, but anyways, it looks like we're back. That does help the channel. Anyway, but anyways, we'll say things like, God, you're in control of this day. There's certain things, objective things I've got to do that I need to get done. I'm offering those right now over to you. And, please just accept it. And, you're in control of everything. And so I just leave it in your hands. And, just please bless the efforts that we put out, because those are the efforts that we're offering to you. The Bhagavad Gita 9:27, this is a really famous verse, but the very first part of that verse says, whatever you offer. And then it goes on and on and on with some other things like whatever you offer, whatever food you offer, yada, yada. At the end of it, it says, offer that to me. So just that first part tells us so much. Whatever you offer, or whatever you do, whatever you do, offer it to me, like do it for me. So God is essentially saying, like, you can offer anything, you can offer your food, water, a candle, incense, anything that you're doing, you can actually offer that to God. And, and God will accept it, as an offering. And I just find a lot of comfort in that Bhagavad Gita. So if you guys want to read that, it's Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, verse 27. It's a really famous Bhagavad Gita verse. It's one of those that really bring a lot of solace, I guess, in terms of our everyday actions. Sometimes we miss the mark. Boy, do we. Sometimes we feel really like maybe even a little prideful about our efforts because we've done a really good job and, we've seen some really good success through some really good results. And it's almost like we've gotten some good luck, right? Well, it's very humbling when you say, well, I've already offered this to God. So, I'm not keeping any words personally. I just offer it to God, and then that's just my offering. So it's kind of a nice way. Just went down to Austin, Texas, and he was telling me that his wife's birthday and everything like that, they went down there and had just an incredible time. And he was telling me about being out by the campfire and stuff and just all the good things that they did and stuff. And yeah, he was really excited. The guy works all the time. He's like really a hard worker. And he's helped us out here at the Bhakti House before. He's donated some lights for the outside here before. So he's just a really, really awesome devotee. And, he's started, like I never even brought it up. I never bring this kind of stuff up, but, they know like we're spiritual and religious and all that. And he was telling me about like why him and his wife, they don't really go to church and this and that, and I was like, yeah, well, you don't have to. Yeah, so we're not trying to like, I guess people get a little like surprised because we're not like trying to proselytize to them or tell them what to do. We just kind of like, okay, well, that's great. We just trust and, whatever our actions are, we just kind of offer it to Krishna. And so it was pretty neat because he was, like for someone that doesn't go to church, he actually spends quite a bit of time in church, probably quite a bit more than some people do, because he's always helping us out. We'll do some kirtan and stuff, and he'll hang out with us and chit chat with us and this, that, and the other. And, in our heart of hearts, and, he's got a really great heart too. In fact, he just tools if we need them for a car and stuff, that should be coming at some point here. But anyway, just really, really good heart, and that's like Krishna bringing nice people to us. God is bringing people into our ministry, into our life, to really just kind of bless the ministry. That being said, sometimes we get people that are less than sincere, just that way. And, that's just what it is. I mean, these are the kind of things, but whatever it is that we're given or whatever it is that we're receiving, good, bad, and different, we just offer it over to Krishna. So that's kind of the mindset. Now, sometimes that's easier said than done, right? It is. Like sometimes you can get really frustrated with what you might perceive as ignorance, or, you might perceive as people that are, having some tamasic qualities, or qualities that are, filled with a lot of, they thought about it much, really. It's just, oh, okay, I see. It's just a devotee, just reach out. Just for this devotee, okay, guys. So I was in the middle of saying a prayer for a devotee. And then when I opened my eyes, I noticed that we were not live any longer. So I apologize for that. Our internet's a little bit shoddy right now. We've had some power outages this past weekend here in Jackson. I think around a couple million people ended up losing power. Some people still have their power out. These were just some really bad storms that came through. In fact, I did a lot of cleanup because there was a lot of debris and trash and things like that that had blown onto the property here. And so it took quite a while to actually clean up and kind of do some stuff with. But anyways, it's good to be back. But anyways, when it comes to doing like our sadhana, like our evening sadhana, that's one of the things that can have sometimes just some incense, a candle, watching the sun go down. There's almost a romantic quality to the sadhana, right? It's like a sweetness that happens. It's like such a blessing that we're given every single day. And sometimes we let it pass by without really taking notice of it. And then other times we do take notice of it, and then we can really feel the reward or the benefit of doing that activity, of just, saying our prayers. And in the morning time, it's very true too. In the morning time, I think in many ways, it's a way of like just connecting with the day, like getting connected with the day and just saying, Lord, I need your help, to get through this day. It's going to be a busy day. I've got all these things that demand my attention. And, if you could just please help me, just weather through it. And I offer everything to you, Lord, then it just makes things so much nicer. And then if you have people that that are suffering or that are going through some other equal hard times, or maybe some things that maybe you've gone through before, and you just really feel it on your heart to pray for them, that's another great opportunity to pray for them. There's so many things that you can do, like with your sadhana. And, if you say, well, I don't have time to chant no 16 rounds. I don't have time to be doing this, or, that just really doesn't interest me, or, I don't feel really connected to that particular path, or this, that, and the other. Well, there's an infinite amount of paths, right? Like God gives us so many different infinite ways of worshiping, of praying, of praising, of connecting, of having a relationship. And that's really, at the end of the day, I think more than anything, it boils down to is, what is our relation? That's another opportunity to use kind of this, it's like, what do you call it? Where you use whatever, it's the utilization principle in psychology. When I'm asking for something, and I feel guilty because now I'm basically using God to try to get whatever it is I want, or make my life easier, or this, that. And that's the only time I really talk to God. Well, it's not that that's a bad thing per se, and if you feel guilty for just doing that, well, maybe that's God trying to tell you that, it's not really about that. God wants to help you and wants to make your life easy. Especially when you're offering all that to the Lord. But what's also interesting is that you could talk to God about anything. I mean, God knows everything. I mean, I have so many wonderful conversations with God. We have this basement here into the kitchen, and I'm getting ready to do prasadam. Sometimes I'm going down those stairs, I'm just chanting a mantra, and when you like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's not just that mantra, or that it's like a nice melody, or you could be singing it. Sometimes I get kind of chipper around here, a little cheery, and even though I'm really busy, I'll be going down those stairs and up and down and up and down, and I'll just be like singing Maha Mantra, doing a little kirtan, and people will start laughing sometimes even at me, and but that's okay, because like when we're chanting, no matter what we're doing, when you're chanting or doing japa, what's cool about that is that you're actually crying out to God. Like when you're reciting God's names, you're actually just calling out to God. And you may not even realize what you're doing, but it's so nice. I mean, case in point, I was talking to someone earlier today, and they were using the GD word and all that, the Lord's name in vain. But I found it very interesting because, even that's kind of a mantra, right? People are like still saying God, and having some recollection. This person I was talking to actually had a cross around their neck and all, and it was just, I don't know. You could see that as being like horrible when people did it and the other. Sorry, we went out again, but it gives you the opportunity to say a prayer for that person, and then that's another way of connecting with God. It's amazing all the things that God puts in front of us every single day, and we're not even consciously aware of it, all the different opportunities that we have to, to reach out and to speak to God. Oh, so people were asking some questions. I'm sorry, I've been so busy blah, blah, blahing here, trying to share a little bit of the message that I was going to put out today for you guys. But yeah, my day is going pretty good, actually. We got some blog posts done, did some educating, and I was able to get some thoughts that I was really wanting to share with people down on paper, well, electronically on paper. and then be able to share that with the community and everything. So that was a big part of my day, was just doing a lot of writing. We got some blog posts in Hindi for those of you that like Hindi. And then we also have just the English ones, of course, as well. And it's just been kind of rewarding in that sense. It gives me an opportunity. It's kind of like, I like to write. It gives me the opportunity to do some reflection and also some thinking. And it's my way of kind of offering things to the Lord, but then also to the devotees as well. So I think it's just kind of a nice medium for me personally. I've always been kind of a writer at heart. Even as a small child, I did a lot of writing. I've always liked linguistics and the way that language works. And so yeah, that was kind of part of my day today. And then we did some kirtan in the park. So we have a park far away, about 1.8 miles from here. So we went, of course, around the Bhakti House and made some for that to some nice people. And they really enjoyed the prasadam, the food, the blessed food. That was really, really amazing. And I could go on and on, actually. I mean, I actually working on getting a room cleaned out for another devotee. He's a senior devotee. He's an older guy. He's going to be coming and staying for some time. I don't know exactly how long, but we have a thing in India, a thing that we say just culturally, that the guest is God, and so we treat our guests like God. So to be as hospitable, to be as I don't want to leave, and that's kind of our mindset or our mentality, is to be that way. So we're always giving and always trying to do the most that we can. It's really interesting because the more stuff that you give away, it seems like the more stuff that God gives you to give away and to help out and to do things. And so like so many, like some of you guys have actually blessed us like prasadam, like for boga, like food, so that we could prepare the prasadam, offer it to the Lord, and then be able to give it out into the community. And that's been really great. In fact, we've done it not just to our community, but we've done it to other communities here and around Mission. And if we take trips or something like that to go to other temples, sometimes we'll bring some prasadam with us, and then we give that away as well. So it's always just really, people love food, and to be able to offer them some sanctified food, some food that's been offered to the Lord, it's fantastic, and they can get some mercy as well. Trying to think of what else. That is a good question. Like, how was my day? My day was blessed, I would say. I'd say it was really blessed. Not too much negativity per se. Yeah, everything has been I've been working kind of hard today. So it's like, I won't say fatigued or anything, but I think it's good to sometimes just do some physical work, keep the body and everything. It's kind of like yoga in a sense, right? Like free yoga. You don't have to pay to go to class or anything. You can just, you're lifting things, bending your knees, and just getting is good. So I did that, and then played some music. And we have a really sweet devotee. He's a younger guy, like in his 20s. He's I want to say he's like I would say he's like a freshman in college, and he goes to school in India, and he's actually studying to be a computer engineer, a computer scientist, software engineer is what I was trying to think of. But anyways, he's over there trying to do that. And he really loves what he loves. And even like there's AI, and I've explained to him that maybe those jobs are not going to be as plentiful later on, but who knows? I mean, we never know. I mean, pursue your path, whatever you feel is right, and I'm sure that Krishna will take care of the rest. But he's a really sweet devotee, and he was offering up some. There was some help. I was trying to help him out a little bit with some work and different things, and so he was able to maybe connect with them and whatnot. So it's really kind of precious. But then he said, like he wanted to do some nice things for the Bhakti House as well, and he's a very sweet devotee. And so he said that he could help out, maybe do some of the blogging, or he could do some things here and there. And so that was just really nice, that someone would offer that. And we said, well, you don't have to offer us anything in return for anything. That's not why we're in existence. He's like, no. He's like, it's in my heart. I want volunteering. Sure, I can find some projects definitely that you could really help with. And so that's another thing, so it's just, that people, like when bhakti is real, I would say, when people are actually, following the prescription of bhakti, what bhakti really is, not some pseudo bhakti, but I'm saying real bhakti. We went out again there, sorry about that. But it changes people's hearts, and and then lives are changed and positive things start to happen for everyone. and the people around you, I mean, I've seen people that, I've had people that I've counseled before that were, sorry guys, the internet is really cutting out, so sorry about that. But they know what bhakti is, but they don't understand like how to apply it like in their own life, like how to apply it like in their relationships with others. And so a lot of times we start off with this conversation of like, okay, well, you like this person and you want to know why they're not really reciprocating in that. Have you, kind of conveyed your feelings, or at times your emotion piece, that's, and the person that you're interested in, they'll find like, wow, this person is really, nobody's time, or nobody's ever done that for me, these things. And then it's just, it doesn't really stop, you really, so then you give your heart to them and you start to do nice things. And then even if that person doesn't have the same, emotional response as what you have in your heart, it's not so much about that as much as it is about your love. Bhakti is like that quality of devotional. It's subconsciously felt sometimes, but the emotional side of it is felt. And the person, they don't even know they're doing this consciously, but they're feeling that loving divine energy that's within you is connecting with them on some level. And regardless if you guys ever get together or not, that divine quality, that love that you have for God is shining through and connecting with that person and is blessing that soul as well. And you'd be so surprised, like God has such a way of coming back to us, and in terms of reciprocation. And now this person might fall head over heels in love with you, and you're just continuing to love and continuing to serve. And it's like what we do for God. It's like, kind of, I compare it to the same situation I was talking about a little bit ago, where I was talking about like, I just don't feel like prayer is really working, or, the devotee was saying, I just don't feel like I'm really being heard. Well, it's that act of continuance, right? It's, okay, so what? Today maybe you feel that way, but just continue serving, just trust the process. You don't have to know like how it works. Another example is like with language learning, like when we teach Hindi and stuff, like there are words in English, in Hindi, that we really don't have a way of saying in English, and vice versa. So sometimes, you say a phrase or something like that, and people want you to break down every single word, and you're like, you really just accept that phrase as what it is, and this is what it kind of conveys, more or less. You don't have to worry about the meaning of every single word in this, just because it changes because of the mood of the sentence and the way that it's actually structured. It's enough just to know that the sentence means this. You can just use it, Those are kind of the same things. You just continue it. I mean, it's just accept it. So sometimes we just have to accept, that, we love this person. We're doing nice things for this person. We're serving this person as we would if this person was our life partner. And, you just continue. I'm not saying you stalk somebody or do anything crazy, or, but just the acts of kindness, something you would do for God, you doing for this person and all. And you're just, again, offering that to the Lord. And see what happens. I'm telling you, I've seen this happen so many times before. And people end up in really beautiful relationships. And, and if not, there's usually reasons why, that God is protecting you and so on. As a devotee, you're protected. God does protect us. And also God uses us to help other people to draw closer to God. So, and you may not even realize it, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have done some really kind things, and it's connected people to the Lord without you even realizing it. And how powerful is that, like just in the sense that God is using you as a devotee to, inspire and to help and to serve others in the same way that maybe somebody once touched your heart, and, brought you into the fold, so to speak. And when I say fold, I'm not saying that, there's this, you're either in or you're out. It's not really that simple, right? It's just kind of like, we try to just can, and, we only have so many hours on doing pointless or worthless or valueless activities. Why not do it? And just see where that takes you and see what kind of life you might have. Be surprised. I don't know. I'd say that's definitely been my experience anyway. I can't really speak for everyone or anyone else really. I can tell you what devotees have told me or kind of relayed to me, but just from my own personal experiences, my own honesty, I say that, it's definitely worth it. So if you find that maybe you think, well, God's not really listening, or I don't have the time, or this, that, just accept that, but don't like get bogged down in that thinking. Those thoughts can, just like they came into your life, they can exit your life. So the idea of just be genuine and be yourself and be real, and try to, sometimes that maybe is a little difficult, right? And God knows everything. We think we're slick, but maybe it's just ourself. And it can be just a simple conversation. It can be just a silent moment that you just offer to God without any words or any thoughts, really. You could just be quiet for a few moments and say, Lord, I offer this moment of silence to you. Please help in that. Only keep these to around 20 minutes. I did go over again today, and sorry for that. A little too much. I hope it's not too much for you guys. We process information in small chunks, so maybe today maybe have helped. So, and we'll just kind of leave it there, I guess. What else was I going to say today to you guys? Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out the blog, sometimes we just don't have time, right, to read a whole bunch of stuff, and I get it. I do put out several blog posts, regularly on the TheBhaktiHouse.org website. But those blogs, I put a lot of heart into doing them. So I hope and pray that, somebody, even if just one person ever benefits from reading some of that content, I really hope that it helps people. But I'm thinking that because of the way that I structure it and the heart intention, everything, hopefully maybe, just maybe is a blessing to some of you. And it's kind of, ever since we've begun kind of this small little effort, guys, sorry for that little distraction there. But yeah, so, if just you have one thought of the Lord, or just one little inkling or something like that, then that's what we hope is for all of you. So anyways, guys, wow, that internet is really something else. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, the website is TheBhaktiHouse.org. It's TheBhaktiHouse.org. I'll try and leave that in the description below this video, but it's in our username too, is TheBhaktiHouse.org. We just don't have the period behind the .org, so it's just TheBhaktiHouseorg on the YouTube channel, but it's TheBhaktiHouse.org, org. If you want to hit up the website, and then just check out the blog. But if you want to contact us or reach me for any reasons, and there's a lot of reasons listed on our form, you just go fill that out. And I connect with people all the time that way, and I've connected with people all over the world, and we have so many wonderful devotees in kind of our Bhakti House fold, if you will, or community, and they're from all over. So the power of the internet, right? The power of being able to connect with each other through this YouTube channel and through WhatsApp and other means as well. So if you guys want to connect, please feel free. That's what we're here for. So anyways, much love and many blessings, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Bhakti House. Until then, check out the blog, hit that like button, all that kind of stuff. You guys know the bell. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and give us a little love on the channel, and we'll reciprocate that 10 times over. Much love. Bye, guys.